There is a persistent rumor about the Taj Mahal. The story goes that once the final stone was laid, the emperor ordered the hands of the architects and craftsmen to be chopped off, ensuring nothing this beautiful could ever be built again. It is a dramatic, horrifying story, and it is completely false. The real story begins in 1631 with a very human tragedy. Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan's beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, died while giving birth to their 14th child. The emperor spent the next 2 years in deep mourning. He made a promise to build a monument to her memory that would outlast them both. Fulfilling that promise did not require cruelty or dark magic. It required solving brutal physical realities through sheer human engineering. By 1632, Shah Jahan had selected a massive 42-acre plot of land right on the banks of the Yamuna River, directly across from his own residence at the Agra fort. Here is the immediate problem. The architects wanted to build an impossibly heavy stone monument, but riverbanks are soft, unstable sand. Place thousands of tons of marble directly on loose topsoil, and the structure will sink or shift unevenly, tearing apart under its weight. Figuring out how to anchor a mountain of stone onto shifting sand was the first hurdle of an undertaking that would eventually consume 22 years of labor and the empire's vast resources. To stabilize the structure, the builders looked beneath the surface. This diagram shows their approach. Workers dug a series of massive, cylindrical wells 50 feet down into the earth, stopping only when they hit the natural water table. These deep pits were then packed with solid ebony and mahogany. Because these specific woods resist rotting in water, they formed an incredibly dense, permanent subsurface platform. Those wooden pillars are still under the Yamuna River right now, holding up the entire complex. With the ground stabilized, the builders needed stone. The brilliant white Makrana marble they chose is considered some of the highest quality in the world, but the quarries were in Rajasthan, almost 300 kilometers away. Each block weighed between 2 and 3 tons. To move them, the empire deployed a fleet of 1,000 elephants, alongside hundreds of oxen. This massive supply chain dragged heavy carts through scorching summer heat and monsoon mud, taking up to 3 weeks just to complete a single trip. The ethereal beauty of the final building is entirely the result of this relentless, grueling logistical pipeline. Working those raw materials required an international city of 20,000 laborers. The emperor brought in dome experts from Turkey, 5,000 specialized stone carvers, 1,500 master calligraphers, and thousands of skilled masons. To maintain this army of workers, temporary villages were built along the riverbank. The empire provided regular, high-quality rations for the workers and their families, distributing fresh roti, lentils, and vegetables daily, with meat provided twice a month. Skilled masons earned between 1 and 2 rupees a day. In an era where food and housing were already provided by the state, this wage was pure surplus, allowing a craftsman to support a family and build savings that far exceeded the average imperial subject. The extreme precision of the stonework was the product of respected, well-compensated craftsmen executing their life's work, not the result of forced slave labor.
You can see that precision in the pietra dura, an intricate inlay technique. Workers took 28 different types of precious and semi-precious stones, including jade from China, turquoise from Tibet, and lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, cut them into exact shapes, and embedded them flush into the white marble. They used a specific adhesive made of lime, egg whites, and resin. 400 years later, those stones are still locked perfectly in place. This schematic shows how the architects also manipulated human perception. The black marble Quranic calligraphy on the main gates features a brilliant optical trick. The letters at the bottom are standard size, but as the text travels higher up the massive archway, the letters gradually scale larger. To a person standing on the ground, the perspective forces the text to look perfectly uniform from top to bottom. They even engineered for natural disasters. The 4 tall minarets at the corners of the platform are not perfectly straight. They actually tilt slightly outward, away from the central tomb. If an earthquake ever strikes Agra, the towers will collapse into the courtyards, rather than crashing inward and destroying the main dome. Every detail was meticulously planned to ensure the building would survive both the elements and the limits of the human eye. But the final and most dangerous hurdle was capping the structure. The central dome alone weighs roughly 12,000 tons. The architects managed this weight by constructing two completely separate domes. This cross-section shows the underlying structure. There is an 80-foot inner dome, designed to keep the interior space proportional and maintain acoustics, completely hidden beneath a massive 115-foot outer dome built for exterior grandeur. Between them is a vast empty space. All 12,000 tons rest safely on a 15-foot thick solid ring of stone and brick at the base, which drives the weight directly down into the reinforced walls. Without this double shell framework, the entire monument would have been impossible to finish. Finally, in 1653, after 22 years of relentless labor, the Taj Mahal was complete. The interior was an architectural marvel. If you stand in the exact center of the perfectly symmetrical octagonal inner chamber and make a sound, the geometry captures it, creating a natural echo that lasts for 28 seconds. But Shah Jahan barely had time to appreciate it. In 1658, a vicious war of succession broke out. The emperor was overthrown by his own son, Aurangzeb, and stripped of his power. The man who commanded 20,000 people to build the ultimate monument was suddenly locked out of it. Shah Jahan spent the final 8 years of his life imprisoned inside the Agra fort. His health declined rapidly, and his eyesight failed. His only connection to his wife's memorial was sitting by a small window, day after day, gazing at it across the river. When Shah Jahan died in 1666, Aurangzeb buried him inside the Taj Mahal, right next to Mumtaz. Because Shah Jahan's tomb was never part of the original floor plan, placing his massive cenotaph beside hers permanently broke the perfect, obsessive symmetry of the inner chamber. The Taj Mahal survived earthquakes, empires, and time because of precise math, deep foundations, and brutal logistics. It stands today as a permanent record of 20,000 skilled hands solving impossible problems in the dirt and sand of the Yamuna River.